So, what is it? For myself, I've been fine. I've been on dad duty Monday through Friday, working hours, changing diapers, all that. No sleep. I only get it at night. And here I am sitting with my real folks telling y'all about California's medical system and how terrible that system actually is. When I was actually in prison myself, I witnessed some of the most atrocious things that can ever take place in prison for people that their sentence said they weren't coming home. For instance, I had a blood clot in my leg for 11 months and 5 days, and it took that long for me to get the surgery. And they didn't even know what it was that entire time. So what I like to do is tell you guys how to prevent this type of situation from happening to you and your family that's incarcerated right now. They don't have the proper medical teams there. You have nurse practitioners that they label as doctors. They're actually not doctors. You have doctors that have been excused from other institutions like real hospitals, and they're just thrown into prison because they have some type of tainted record. Now, not all of them have a tainted record. Some have just come straight out of medical school or whatever it is, whatever classes they've taken, and they come straight into the prison system. So once you have filed all the proper paperwork in order to see the doctor, to see the medical system, the first level, which is the nurse, getting to see the doctor, you don't get the results back that you were actually looking for. There's an appeal process. It's called a medical 602. With that, there are 3 levels that you have to go through in order to officially exhaust your administrative remedies. That process takes anywhere from about 90 to 120 days. So that's 3 or 4 months. Once you exhausted your administrative remedies, then you're allowed to go to the federal courts. When you go to the federal courts, you have to see to it that you actually make a claim, point out exactly the doctors or nurses that you plan on filing your complaint against, and make sure your case law is actually up to par. The case law is extremely important. The case that sets precedent is Estelle versus Gamble. It's like a 1964 case, but the United States Supreme Court broke that case down for the specifics of people incarcerated, stating that just because you are incarcerated doesn't mean you don't get proper medical attention. There's another case, one that I actually used. It was Jet versus Penner. The guy had broken his finger, and due to the fact the medical system at that prison didn't give him the proper medical attention, he ended up having a deformity in his finger. So he was able to sue the doctor and as well as the specialist. And there was an older guy. Due to the fact he was older, due to the fact he had life, he had such a blind spot in his right eye to where his blind spot started right here. He couldn't see anything from here over. So he saw to it that he always put himself up against like a wall or something when he walked, or some type of path to where he would have everything on this side of his body. But he had a cyst or some type of growth on the back side of his eye to where the ophthalmologist stated in his medical file that he needs surgery to get that removed so that his blind spot wouldn't hinder him. But due to the fact that he had all that time, plus he was an older guy, like 67, 70 years old, the prison that I was at, the medical system, the board, the HMO, all them, they all said no. So just based on that fact, it's like, due to the fact you have a lot of time, you don't deserve medical attention from the payments or whatever the cost is and all that. It's just the way the system is. And if people truly look up or send out the proper investigators to understand the background of the medical systems of the prisons that their loved ones are in, you'll see that there are so many prisons that share the same similarity. Well, just because you're in prison doesn't mean that you're not human. It doesn't mean that your time, it's funny because there was, in one of those case laws, a judge actually stated that just because a person is in prison Their time is their punishment, not the medical treatment that they actually get. So the conclusion is for this is my reason for doing this segment is the fact that I actually care. The things that I went through with the medical system at basically every single prison I went to was wrong. They were nowhere near up to par. And it was just solely by the grace of God and the strength that he gave me to power through is the reason why I'm here today. A blood clot could have put me down at any time during that 11-month span. For families that are on the outside and they're looking to help their loved ones in prison receive urgent medical attention, what you can do is you can call. You can call the institution that they're at. You can file a complaint from the outside in. And also, at the same time, if it is urgent medical attention that is needed, the person, when they do their medical 602, they can write at the top urgent or emergency medical attention, and that will speed your 602 process up literally by days. I had actually written a medical 602 for an older guy that had a cancerous lesions growing on his lungs. It was crazy. And I had filed that, and they came to get him within 3 days. But for the most part, his wife was actually beating down the doors on the outside. She called everybody that she needed to call, and it definitely got the medical attention process sped up for him. What the system actually does is they actually don't believe a lot of people have someone on the outside that cares if they make it to the next day or not, especially when it's in regards to medical treatment. So what people need to do is start proving that. You know, stand up right in the face of an injustice such as this and speak up for your folks and see to it that they get the medical attention that's actually needed.